introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about you?
Sure. My name is Cara, and I have been a digital nomad for the last 7 years. And in that time, I also act and I don't really model, but I have done some time for print shoots around the world in various places. And now I work online and I can work from anywhere. And I actually specialize in client experience for service providers.
Wow,
Since I work online and I could live and work from anywhere.
that is the dream.
I know. I'm in New York right now, though. This is where I'm from, and I've been
Okay.
back for about 6 months now.
Wow. So I know that you had mentioned that you did some time for photo sessions, um, more intimate sessions in the past.
Yep, I've done a couple. Well, one was intended to be, and the other was not intended to be. So, um, I have stories about both of them.
So go ahead and let's talk about the first one that was supposed to be a
Sure.
boudoir shoot. So hopefully there weren't too many surprises with that one.
Not too many, no. That one was a new photographer who was trying to start her boudoir portfolio. This was in Spain, actually. And my branding is very sexy, sensual, which is funny because it's like tech, but I wanted some boudoir photos for that. So that was perfect. And we set up a time and she came over to my apartment and we took some photos.
So you said it was her first shoot. Did she do anything that stood out to you that was either really, really great or really, really horrible as far as like a client experience goes with her?
Yeah. I don't think it was her first shoot, but she was on the newer side. Some great things that she did was ask me for some inspiration photos. So I sent her kind of the style that I was after ahead of time. So she knew what I was looking for and if it fit with her vision as well. She asked me just some questions about like the degree of nudity and stuff I was looking for, which was good as well. And when she came over, we kind of sat and talked a little bit. So, I wasn't just immediately getting naked in front of a stranger.
That's nice. Definitely. That communication is key.
Yeah, especially because she was like coming to my house, which is both good and bad because I felt comfortable in my own home, even though
Mhm.
it was a new home for me. I had just gone to Spain, but that was good. But it's also scary having a stranger come to your home
Yes, it is.
where you're going to be naked or largely unclothed. Um,
That can be intimidating.
yeah, so those were all great. A couple of things she did that I think could have been done better. Um, she is Eastern European, so could be a little bit harsh in the way she speaks and directs. And she also a few times would like touch me to pose me without telling me that she was going to do that. So that was a little shocking.
Yeah, that's
Um,
a big no-no.
yeah, it would
It
have been
comes to
okay.
me at least.
Yes, I would say that's a huge no-no. Sometimes like, you're just like in your element and you just like want to move somebody's hair quickly or move their arm or something. So like it didn't seem like she was doing with malintent or anything. It was just, she was in the
Right.
moment, but I would definitely have told her to be a bit more intentional about letting somebody know that you're going to do that or asking if they're okay with.
Great advice. I really appreciate that. So let's talk about your other shoot for a
Hmm.
quick second. It was not planned to
Yeah,
be
so the
an
shoot
intimate
the
session.
shoot was planned. Yeah, the
Right.
shoot was planned and this was another TFP in Australia this time. Um and it wasn't necessarily not intimate. Like I was wearing like a low cut dress with a slit in it. Um but it wasn't necessarily meant to be like sexy. You know what I mean? Like we were shooting out in a field somewhere.
Okay.
And at one point, he had asked me if I was wearing underwear. So this was a man. So that's a big difference. He asked me if I was wearing underwear. Um, I'm not really sure what his intent behind asking me that
Hmm.
was. Maybe it was because you could see it through my dress and he wanted me to take it off so that you couldn't see it. Um, but he should have been more clear about that. And then afterwards, he had texted me and asked if I would like to do a boudoir shoot with him that would be paid, whereas the other one was not paid.
Right.
Um, and I asked for like more information about it, and he basically said it would be for personal use.
Yeah, that's a little interesting. A little wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I said no, and I didn't do that one.
Yeah. I can definitely understand why. So thank you for sharing those. So I've been a photographer since 2006. Started actually on wedding photography and started doing boudoir in about 2012, and then opened up a home studio in 2020 and have shot, hundreds of girls. And I definitely think, I always tell them I will never touch you without your permission. And
Mhm.
I have girls laugh at me. They're like, oh my gosh, just move my hair.
Yeah.
Like you've asked me 10 times. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I just want to be sure you know that I'm coming over to touch you when you're in lingerie. I don't want
Yeah,
you
100%.
to jump or to be creeped out or anything. So I think that building trust and establishing a rapport before a session is vital. Like you said with your one session, you guys actually sat down and you talked beforehand. That's great. I always make sure to get on the phone with my clients and we talk for a good 30 minutes before the session. I'm happy to meet them before the session if they're local. That is how I go along. Is there anything else that you would suggest for photographers being able to kind of bridge that gap and build that trust and establishing rapport with a client from your side?
Yeah, I would think not so much just for setting rapport, but for setting expectations for what the shoot would be like, because um, my business is with actually client journey, client experience. I think it's really important that after like somebody pays you, if these are paid sessions, or somebody books with you if it's portfolio work, you send them a nice, warm welcome email with expectations for the day, how it's going to look, like let them know that we're going to do a chat, let them know what kind of attire they might want, and maybe some suggestions on where to get said attire if they don't have any. Maybe some like makeup tips if they're hiring a makeup artist or not. Just set expectations so people feel like really comfortable and confident, because I don't think a lot of people have experience being in front of the camera in that way. I think just really setting expectations as best as you can and making people feel really comfortable with you, and offering them to ask questions, because people might have questions again, because if they're not experienced with this kind of thing, they don't know. They don't know what to do or what to say or how to pose or anything like that. And again, like if you're going to give them lots of direction on the day, just let them know. Don't worry about not being able to pose, because I'm going to help you do that. I'm going to give you recommendations on the day. Or if you want to practice in front of a mirror, here are some techniques you could do, so on and so forth.
That's actually great advice. One of the things that we do here at Alluring Blush is we actually have automated emails to send out. So once you've made that payment, I've already talked to you beforehand. We've made that payment, and you get emails that come out that talk to you about short, sweet spray tans, because a lot of women don't think about spray tanning. The do's and the
Exactly.
don'ts. Outfit guides, where to purchase your outfits at, suggestions, things to prepare for, like drink lots of water beforehand, maybe stretch beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So, and it keeps up that client communication too, I've found. So by the time that they come in, you're already like old friends because you've essentially been talking to them for the months preceding their session.
Exactly. And
Okay.
some things that might seem like common sense to you as a photographer who's been doing this for a while, the people who are booking you might not think of at all. So, like even me, I wouldn't have even thought of a spray tan, or anything like that. Again, I was in Australia, so I was pretty tan, but
Yeah.
even if you think it's common sense, it might not be. So it's better to communicate it than not.
Definitely. So, one thing I want to focus on are techniques for helping clients feel confident in front of the camera. Do you have any experience with what did and did not work? Maybe for you, I know you mentioned your one lady was a little harsher in her, not necessarily meaning to be, but just a little more harsh with her
Yeah.
direction. Have you had anything that you noticed that photographers will do that just did not work or that really did help to make you feel comfortable during your session?
Yeah, well, she was harsh. She did, pump me up at times and, made sure that I knew she thought I looked good
Well, that's
while I
good.
was while I was posing. So definitely like hyping your girl up while she was out there, giving her all is great. And then I've had a photographer before. This was specifically just for headshots though, so not boudoir, but he would pose me and I would feel really awkward in the pose. And he was like, trust me, it doesn't look awkward in the camera. It's like it's angling your neck better, or your chin or whatever. Especially because I have a problem with my chin in photos always. I never know how to position my face. So sometimes if you give direction and it looks great behind the camera, but it could feel really uncomfortable, just giving a lot of reassurance that it looks a lot better than it feels. Yeah, some people are going to need more direction than others. So
Definitely. Some people do really need a lot of direction, whereas some people are almost naturally confident behind,
exactly.
even if they've never done a boudoir shoot or headshots or anything like that, they're just naturally confident. Whereas I get behind the camera and I'm just like some awkward, you're in
Yeah,
front of
I've been in front of the camera so many times and I still feel awkward and not that confident. And it's really just helpful to have somebody hyping you up rather than just being like, okay, now we're gonna do this. Okay, okay. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you look amazing. You're so hot.
Yeah, I'll actually encourage my clients. I'm like, bring up your best friend, bring a hype girl with you.
Yeah.
And that I
Yeah.
think a lot of photographers don't like them to bring friends and client and I think of it as they're just going to help. They're the ones who are sitting there who are I've never had a bad experience with people bringing guests. It's always a hype girl or a hype mom or you know and it's great and they're the ones who sit down at the reveals and they're like, "Oh, look at you." So, I can tell you a little story. I was watching a creative live video on a boudoir session, and they were talking about different ways to make the girls feel comfortable in front of the camera. And one of them was a very well-known photographer. She was like, just have them flirt with your light, get that flirty look going on their face. So I tried that with I was doing a new session, a new set. And so I used that prompt and we both just started laughing because it was like, how stupid is this?
Yeah.
Like it definitely broke the ice for us, but it was definitely something I will never tell a client again.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean,
It
I've
was
been told to like
horrible.
flirt with the camera or flirt with the lens. Like imagine somebody's in there that I'm like
Hmm.
wanting to tell a little secret to or something like that. So it can work in some circumstances and depending on the person. I think if you have a little bit of an acting background, it's a little easier maybe, but if you've never had to do anything like that, it feels so silly and
Yeah,
not natural at all.
definitely. And I think that, even being a photographer, I've actually had a boudoir photography experience, and part of it was great. My experience was I went down to South Florida and did a session that was TFP. So I did her pictures, and she did my pictures. The plan was for her to come up to my studio, but I went down to hers and she wanted to redo my makeup. She wanted, to redo my hair and things like that, which of course I let her. So my pictures would be on brand for her. Whatever she needed, I told her I was flexible with. But it was not her studio as I was led to believe. It was actually her like studio apartment.
Mm,
And it was her bed with like her like mismatched blankets thrown over it and like junk in the corners and I think part of building that confidence and also making them feel comfortable is to give them a good idea of what to expect, like you had mentioned earlier, not only in what to expect from the day but what to expect from your location
yeah.
and what exactly, if you're looking for something specific. I've done model calls and TFP sessions for bridal boudoir if I need some more bridal in my portfolio and things like that. Um, and I just think that it's good to explain to the girls, whether it's a client or a model, what exactly it is you're looking for and to set their expectations realistically. I do a very luxury based product.
Hmm.
And so I was just expecting something more along the lines of what I offer when I went
Mhm.
down. So just having those realistic expectations, I think, is very important as well.
Super important. I agree.
Any tips on how to create a supportive and safe environment for your?
Definitely the setting expectations,
Okay.
allowing somebody to bring a friend, I think is a great thing because if I'm not allowed to bring somebody, I'm super suspect of
Me
the
too.
person's intentions. So I think that's actually a great thing. Is just even allowing it, even if they don't bring somebody.
Right. I always encourage them to bring somebody. And like you mentioned, having an idea on their limits, how you had shared your images kind of that you were looking for. I think that's a great idea. I always send out a questionnaire to my clients asking in a simple way, basically, what are your limits? Like, what are you
Mhm.
looking for? Are you feeling daring? Or are you feeling more modest?
Yeah, and some
So,
people
you know,
might
having
change their
that
mind at the
conversation.
shoot. So
Exactly.
yeah, you could always give people the option, say like, hey, if you're feeling more daring, let me know. I'm never going to push you, but if you
Yeah.
want it, I would just encourage them when you see them, if like, by the way, if you're looking to do nudity or any like, go a little further than you were planning, you let me know. I won't ask you again,
Mhm.
but I just want to let you know that you could let me know if you're feeling daring.
Definitely. That's a great idea. Well, and then you said encouraging throughout. So, I mean, you have been so helpful and I really appreciate your time.